What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and my Hardcore Mystic playthrough. Now, as I mentioned last episode, this time around for the daily login reward, we got 500 Defender medals, which does give us enough DMs for another shard. Now, I was thinking about this one, and, here's what I got. So I got my Sand Viper set up now. Destruction, defense rate, deadly strikes. Feel like I'm in a pretty good spot there. We also have a destruction on Serpent's Coil. We got a fortification on a Viper's Fang. And then basically we've got nothing on the Obelisk. Now, the Obelisk is something it's a super strong tool from the Mystic. But we've got the benefit of All for One. Now, All for One is going to provide basically destruction, defense rate, and deadly strikes. The deadly strikes, of course, doing nothing for the obelisk, but basically we get destruction and defense rate all in one on this one. And I feel like that's what I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and go for an All for One in that one. It's a Chaos 10 shard, so we wouldn't have access to it if we weren't, spending our defender medals. Additionally, we don't have enough gold to upgrade it all the way, but we can upgrade it as far as we can until we get some more gold, and then we're going to slap that bad boy right there on our obelisk. So it should be a big, big difference on our obelisk, even without having it upgraded all the way. Let's take a look at a before and after here. So the main thing we're looking at is the smite damage and the smite rate. So before, it was smiting every 2.93 seconds, and it was hitting for 11,000, which is pretty substantial. Now we go ahead and slap that bad boy on, and then now it's every 1.88 seconds for 13,000. So we're going to be able to get that down to the cap quite quickly, just by getting this shard upgraded and then getting a little ascension. But that should add quite a bit to our experience, as we now have an obelisk that is gonna do some wrecking. It's one of the best support defenses in the game with the hero boost aspect of it, but it actually does hit quite hard. It's just random single target damage, so it's not something you can rely on fully like as your main DPS, but it is just so helpful. Now, alright, we were working on the Harbinger. We're just getting started on that zone. We've got to clear this one to get our next 150 gems. And let's just hop on into a Rampart Siege and get it going. All right, and here we go. Now, we do know this one we could have some flyer issues with it. We're going to want to prepare for that. We only start off with 800 mana. There's 1,000 DU, so we don't get to get everything built down quite yet. However, let's get things started here. So we're going to start off with a Viper's Fang right there, kind of at the line of sight point. And then now that we've got a little bit of extra range in the mix, it gives us a little more freedom on where we put these Sand Vipers. So let's go ahead and throw some Vipers up here, something like that. And then we could even throw in, do we want to get a few coils in? Let's throw 2 coils down. Those coils might end up getting slapped. We'll have to see how it goes. Now, over here in this area, we're basically going to do the same thing. We're just going to put a Viper's Fang back in the doorway there, kind of get that line of sight going, and then we're going to put our Sand Vipers out here. We'll go with 3 of those guys, and I think we'll just throw 1 Serpent's Coil down right there. Now, this lane, of course, we've got the sub-objective. Another thing is this area is susceptible to flyers. There's no doubt about it. So let's wall it up a little bit up close. We'll go something like that. We'll throw our snakes. God, the range. Having some range now is so nice. We'll throw our snakes down about like that. And then can we get a coil over here? Let's throw 2 coils in. Same thing there. We might end up having some issues here on that area. And then we've got our main, kind of the main lane. We got this big double lane here. Let's go ahead and double wall it. And then I think let's go something like that. And then we'll go something like this over here too. Basically the same thing on each side. Mixed emotions on the coils. If I had some more range on them, I'd just throw some coils in the back, but why don't we go something like that and that? Those, you know, once again, could be susceptible to having some issues, but we will see. And then we want to get some last resort flyer protection down, so I'm just going to go like that with it for now. In fact, we've got enough DU to get things started. We can throw down a coil there. And then we're going to just wait it out until we get the rest of our mana, I believe. We can throw... Let's throw a couple of sand traps right there. Let's go ahead and let it fly here and see how it goes. Now, we're going to have to watch the mini-map on this one. I think we'll just be bouncing around from lane to lane. Ideally, I'd like to make it so that I'm just fighting here in the middle. But I'm not sure how realistic that's going to be. Let's get a Call to Madness down there. Having that range on the snakes is so huge. That will definitely have a large impact. As we get these snakes dialed in, we can get ramping on there too once we get a little bit of range, but we're going to need some ascension levels before we worry about that. We should be getting to the point where we're getting over the hump a little bit, though, with just how strong the Mystic is. Where the Mystic is an absolute powerhouse of a builder in late game, early game, there's just some definite struggles there, no doubt. Let's get another Call to Madness here. Get a big old scrap going, a little Gobu scrap. And just let these snakes just burn them out from there. Alright, so that went incredibly smooth. That is for sure. Now, what do we want to do? Well, I mean, we could get something in up here for some upfront help. We've got a lot of DU to work with now. These will be probably some pretty big flyer targets. But we can throw something like that in. We can get some sand traps in here. Let's go just with one on each side. In fact, let's really load them up. That's only going to leave me 70. That might be a little bit much. We'll get rid of those. Alright, now this area, I want to make sure we don't end up having issues with. Definitely go 2 sand traps there. That leaves me 70 left. I think we can go 2 sand traps like that. And what else? There's 30 more. I mean, part of me feels like it's a bit of a waste to throw another Viper back here, but on the same note, I kind of want to throw a Viper back here. Oh, I never threw down an Obelisk. After all that Obelisk talk. Yeah, we need to get that going. Let's see. What do we want to free up to give an Obelisk? You know what? I think we can get rid of one of these. And we can throw the obelisk just back here as bait, I think. We can just throw it right there as kind of dive bomb bait. Now, I do need to make sure that none of the javelins being thrown are piercing through and hitting it. And that gives us enough for one more sand trap. Guess we can throw the one more sand trap just like right there. Alright, I like it. Let's get our obelisk jacked up and let it fly here. Jeez, I go and invest into an all-for-one and still forget the obelisk. What the heck, man? If you're playing with the Mystic as a main, or in any situation where you want a DPS, you really, really want to have an obelisk down on every map that you play. It's just an incredibly useful tool. Just the buff on it alone can be quite powerful. That little bubble it gives me is, is a hero buff, so just that by itself is worth using the obelisk, but you add the smites into the mix too, and it's just so incredibly good. Get all these flyers burned out. Yeah, we get a nice go boo boom or melee boom relic. Maybe we really luck out and we get one with another beneficial mod on it. And these snakes are going to be screaming. Absolutely screaming. Let's see. Let's get this area upgraded. Now, where do we have... Well, I don't think we're going to have any real issues yet. Let's get this outside lane upgraded here. And there we go. So we haven't had any issues with that snake up top there dying. I wonder how much value we're actually getting out of that, though. Let's go check it out. We'll drop a Call to Madness here and see what's going on. Yeah, it's getting down in there. Looks like it's just handling the flyers, which that's quite nice. Very, very smooth running. I was expecting this map to be more of an issue, where it definitely does not feel like it's an issue at all. I think getting the deadly strikes in there is just so impactful. Having that extra range going on those snakes, particularly early where we don't have any range gambit or any ascension or anything like that going on, is just so huge. All right, looking quite nice. So what do we want to do? I mean, we can just kind of spam some upgrades around. I don't think we really needed to worry too much about anything other than just spamming upgrades. We'll run around here and collect up some mana. It looks like this wall took a shot. Throw another upgrade on one of those snakes. All right, we got a big flyer push in the middle. Looks like we've got enough out here, though, just to get the job done. And like I said, I feel like with destruction, defense rate, and deadly strikes on those snakes, I feel like they're starting to come into their own now. Starting to really get it done. Any lanes that have enough room for the mobs to walk a little ways, where we can get some clean line of sight on them with the snakes are just going to devastate. I guess let's upgrade. Well, we'll upgrade wherever the boss is going to come from. Just about there. All right. So which lane is going to be our boss lane? Looks like it's going to be straight down there. All right. I'm just going to fight there. I'm just going to spam some upgrades around and call it good. And I'll just fight out here instead of worrying about getting this lane upgraded. Here comes the flyers. See that obelisk just wrecking those flyers. Of course, you can't decide what they're going to target, but it sure is nice when they target the right thing. All right, and here comes Malthius. Let's get another Call to Madness down here. There we go. So Malthius down. It's pretty much a win at this point. We just got to let the rest of the mobs burn off. Hopefully we get some loot. You know, we've got several maps in a row without any real decent loot. So it'd be nice to see something. One more mob. Let's see what kind of victory chest we get. What did we get? Oh, we hit level 50. All right, so we are level 50 now. We're going to start... we'll start getting some ascension points, which is huge because every map is just going to be a straight power gain as we go up and get more and more and more ascension. Fiery Fangs. Now, sadly, that is just kind of a junk mod. Or that would be a nice one to keep around, but I'm not going to do anything with that. We did get a couple more shards, though. Let's grab all the loot and head on out to Tavern and check it all out. All right, let's see. So we didn't really get anything, except, would you look at that bad boy right there? We got us a Gobu Boom. Now that, in my opinion, is well worth putting on there, even though that was a slight... lowering of defense power. It's still not, it's not a good roll. It's a darn near minimum roll. Now I could re-roll that defense power on it, but we're not going to gain much from that, so I don't think I'm really even going to bother. Yeah, we got Gobu Boom, y'all. So that is kind of a big addition. Let's see what we got for shards. Of course, now that we're no longer on the Dryad playthrough, we're going to get the Dryad shards. That's just how RNG works. And we're going to get lots of them. So, sad times here, sad times. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take it easy.